Looks like all the steps for this counteroffensive are now ready. Now, Ukraine, do you want to run me through on this thing one more time before we could execute it?
Of course, Commander. I was just about to start explaining it to you. Now, the objective and steps for this operation are straightforward. This plan alone is our last and only shot at any means of successfully turning this war around in our favor, meaning we must do whatever it takes to make sure this cannot fail.
I see. And by the way, you've described its picture. I'm going to guess you might have a good idea on what we could be potentially up against.
Affirmative, Commander.
Well, care to start explaining to me what the objective for Phase 1 is?
For Phase 1, it's all about liberating the city of Dnipro. From what we have gathered in terms of our recent intelligence relation involving the city, is that they currently have the manpower advantage with an estimate of 600,000 enemy soldiers stationed and currently occupying Dnipro. Another thing we also managed to thankfully discover weeks earlier, according to our intelligence and local partisan militias sabotaging their efforts in the city, was that Russia was also creating a plan on initially launching a full-scale offensive up north towards our southern parts in the Kyiv Oblast. And by the looks of what they're planning to do, it seems like they're preparing to attempt to cut off our remaining forces stationed in the entire Oblast.
That is a lot of troops. But what we need to do in order to stop them from having the green light then?
I am so glad you've asked about that. From the amount of military aid we have been receiving from our Western partners lately, we do have an enormous stockpile of equipment and also firepower to dwindle down on our numbers, and perhaps if we're that successful, we can indeed eliminate the entire army. Now, based on how this will work, although, we might not have the manpower to take the city back. This step is to send our main forces to face the current Russian divisions head-on from the south, creating a diversion.
Diversion? Do you mean that we're going to try to encircle them?
Bingo. What a diversion is being commenced. This is where our small-scale divisions from the town of Lazova and the city of Kyiv come in. Their goal is to sabotage and cut off the main supply line that comes from the city of Zaporizhzhia. If we take that city, this is where Russia's giant portion of the army will be wiped out.
I see where this is going now. What about Phase 2?
For Phase 2, if Phase 1 is successful, this is where the aerial bombing of Russia's fortifications that have been prolonging this deadly stalemate comes in. Our Lend-Lease American F-16s and B-2 Spirit stealth bombers will be playing a role, which will then lead towards our airdropping campaign.
Airdropping? To where?
To Crimea.
Crimea? But it's risky. Shit could go down south very quickly. What are we planning to do down there in Crimea?
For Crimea alone, the objective for this part is to commence the dropping of a combined force of paratrooper and armored divisions and special forces units to take and seize the city of Kerch. Once the city has been captured, make sure that you order the paratrooper and armored divisions to head west on the outskirts of the city and its surrounding areas, and hold out long enough so special forces units can explode the Kerch bridge, eventually severing any connection for any Russian forces stationed in Crimea, preventing them with no possible ways of escaping. Once your units in Crimea are well mobilized after the destruction of the bridge, begin moving west to capture as much land as you can.
Mr. President, is it possible that Russia's naval capabilities could be a potential threat to the group operating in Crimea?
Unlikely, considering our constant missile and drone strikes have destroyed most of their fleet in the Black Sea, as well as their air defense systems in the area.
Well, if that's the case, that only increases our chances of success. What about Phase 3?
For Phase 3, it's the main counteroffensive, the liberation of our country. This main offensive will be operated and collaborated upon 4 army groups. The names for these groups, including the first being codenamed Army Group Kherson, will be tasked with blocking and pushing down south towards Crimea and capturing Sevastopol. The second group is codenamed Army Group South, will be tasked in pushing to liberate the city of Melitopol. The third group, codenamed Army Group Southeast, will be tasked in capturing Mariupol. And finally, the last group, codenamed Army Group East, is tasked with launching an aggressive offensive and taking back the former cities of Donetsk and Luhansk, and ultimately forcing those separatists in the area to capitulate.
Sounds simple enough, considering we are already amazing more soldiers of our current position. So, Mr. President, what about Phase 4?
Let's just say, how about taking things a step further to the homeland?
Wait, you don't mean we're going to be invading them?
Correct, especially if that means it can force the Russians to surrender quicker. But the question here is that blocking the possibility of our units are exhausted. If they're not, we can perhaps further embarrass Russia, turning the war against the main government.
If that means we'll give Putin a taste of his own medicine after what he has done to our people all these years, sign me up.
Wonderful. Now, Commander, you know what to do. With all the steps for this operation read, you will go for lunch.
Thank you, Mr. President. But I am concerned at least about one thing.
What's that, Commander?
What happens if this operation fails?
This will mean that the future of our country, the future of our children, including all of our major cities, will be in grave danger by the monsters that have oppressed us for hundreds of years. Our freedom, culture, identity, our very way of life will be at risk. Our lives will be decided by this monster. Commander, I know I might be saying this in a soft tone, but I wish you and our soldiers the best of luck in all of this. Do whatever it takes to stop those Russian demons. The future of Ukraine is in your hands. Now, commence Operation Comeback at once.
Yes, Mr. President, it shall be done.
That's it!
What the? No, this can't be happening.
Could you not say I didn't warn you? You brought this upon yourself. And for that, indeed, you have to realize you're not going to make it out alive if you use your warheads. Use your fucking warheads. I dare you!
You don't give me choice. Let's see how you feel when Kyiv burns to ground. Now, die!
Hey! Shaigu! Grasimov! You haven't forgotten about my ammunition, have you?
Wagner? I should have known.
Only one more stop. There's no going back. In this close! Russia, surrender.
I'm going for Moscow.
If you're not saying anything, then Moscow it is. Farewell.
No, Ukraine, please, wait. You don't have to do this. We can work this out, I swear. Just let me have a chance to fix mistakes. Don't do it. Here!
You imbecile! You doomed us all!
I tried everything I could do to save us. Now, that Ukraine won. And this has become irreversible.
You know what? If New Russia needs a party, then I volunteer myself to take over.
Oh, no, you don't. You think you're going to reunite the USSR and start another Cold War with the US? I will not stand for it. So I should take control.
You all can suck it. It's my turn.
No one is going to take over. If someone wants to take control, it will be me on my terms.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like to never miss out any new content. Also check out our Discord server and other social media in the description. Bye!